Hello, everybody. Welcome from this beautiful environment. I'm actually in other room in Leiden Bioscience Park meeting room, and I'm really happy to bring some vlog about artificial intelligence, but also stem cell-based therapies. And I think the vlogmas wouldn't be a vlogmas if I would not have a Sinterklaas or St. Nicholas cap on. So I'm going to do it just to continue vlogmas, but scientific vlogmas, and I think also important in terms of all of us as a potential patients. So I would like to start actually from very short, inspiring introduction. I recently watched a very nice science fiction movie, Lucy, about how actually pharmaceutical industry could increase brain capacity. And the substance were found, and Scarlett Johansson experienced how it is to increase brain capacity from 10%, which is average, which we use, till 100%. And I don't want to say everything about it, but this is example about thinking about innovation and pharmaceutical industry, how to speed up, how to empower translational impact and bring this acceleration of this impact in terms of brain capacity. But of course, I think the most tangible nowadays is that when we think about what could actually increase our brain capacity in terms of developing our innovation and accelerating innovation process, is in terms of therapies, in terms of pharmaceuticals, new pharmaceuticals and new medicines, including biological medicines, including stem cell products. Then AI is one of the first ones, right? Artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence starts to play a very big role in accelerating innovation process. And I hope this is all very visible. I just make sure that you can see it. So, accelerating innovation process when we talk about traditional medicines, but also, in my case, advanced therapy medicinal products, which include gene therapy, stem cell therapy, and so-called combined ATMP products, stem cells, biomaterials. So we don't have to have supercomputer brain. I think with big help comes here in artificial intelligence. And I think that's something which I'd like to talk about more in detail, because I think for us as a patients it's important to realize how these therapies can be developed, how we can, based already on previous interview which I had with Professor Ana Hidalgo Simon. She spent 20 years in IMA, and she came back to academia to help actually to develop this stem cell or cellular-based therapies, so ATMPs products, develop these products in terms of successful therapies. And to make it successful, definitely artificial intelligence will help us here. So that's something which I think is very fascinating. We are now exploring it here in Leiden. Different companies are exploring it. In a moment today, there will be meeting about data science and artificial intelligence. So very great meeting, and I will make separate vlog about this as a continuation of this vlog, because I think it's super exciting to talk about artificial intelligence in development and especially accelerating innovation process in terms to produce this and bring this stem cell or stem cell biomaterial, so ATMP products, and develop successful therapies. And I think for all of us as potential patients, this is extremely important because why we need it is because normally the drug development takes between 20 or to 25 years. So we want to accelerate any terms of processes which are potentially can be accelerated in terms of make this time, right, shorter. So to deliver this medicine which saves people's lives quicker to the patients. And I think that's the best what could happen, and how positive we can think about artificial intelligence. But I wanted to now a little bit dive into this process in terms of clinical trials. And what happens before, right? How to start? If you are a company, how to start? How to begin? And because it's a very long process, between 10 and 25 years, you want to make it right at first time. And I was very much thankful to HVivo here consultancy, which is helping small startups, but also companies, to develop drugs, and in terms of advice, in terms of process. And I would like to here bring some important pieces of this process, or important stages. And what you need to know, even you are not a clinical scientist, you need to know that this process requires first preclinical studies. And I will put it here, preclinical studies. These are very often research and development studies, so fundamental research, and this is happening very often, of course, in companies, in big companies which have R&D labs, but for small companies, these companies actually, and my startup too, is very happy to collaborate with university, so academia. So academia plays here a very important role, and that also when you watch back, I will give you a link for the interview in generating ideas for clinical, basically products, for clinical medicines. This is the core where academia is very important. But describing, of course, all the parties which are involved in this preclinical research, I think I would like to still focus on the process, because if you're able to understand the process and the stages well, you're able to plan and do things rather right than rather wrong. So you have preclinical research, right, which we called discovery phase. This discovery phase, and here you have market. So that's our end point. That's our start point. And I will change the color just to make distinction. So that's preclinical research, right? That's non-clinical research. Many times you can also hear about that. And then you have clinical research, which is composing of 4 clinical phases. You have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. This is the clinical research. What's the difference, main difference between preclinical or non-clinical I would stick rather to clinical to keep things really simple and not too much apply semantics, otherwise it can be very confusing. What's the main difference is that here the research is mainly done in preclinical research using animal models, very different animal models, and here in clinical research they are used humans, volunteers. In phase 1, if you actually look back carefully, is mainly tested on between 20 and 100 healthy volunteers. And important part of this phase, because I also would like to give some description, is that this phase 1 trial, because officially this is phase 1 clinical trial, is mainly to establish safety of a new drug. And it can be, as I told you, typical traditional drug, but also stem cell-based medicine or ATMP product, and dose range in healthy volunteers. Also how a drug is absorbed, distributed, metabolized, and excreted by the human body. And that is called pharmacokinetics, right? So here, pharmacokinetics, it's tested on of a new drug. Including new stem cell drug, new ATMP product. So, and this is of course determined by sampling blood samples and testing the level of the drug in the blood. So that's something about phase 1. And usually this takes several months, and about 70% of experimental drugs pass this initial phase of testing. So this is rather successful, I think, statistically, clinical trial, phase 1. Phase 2 start to be more difficult because phase 2 is to a certain therapeutic dose level and dosing frequency. So, for example, what quantity of drug Y works better on disease Y. So this is already tested on patients with certain disease, not on healthy volunteers. And it's randomized, that's important. It's randomized, so certain, in a way, patients receive placebo, or standard treatment, or this new drug treatment. So that's very different, and this is randomized within this group. So that's important to know. Also here in phase 2, there is already between 100, so there is increased group which is needed of volunteers, which is needed here, and possibly, of course, patients. And approximately 33% of experimental drug which pass phases 1 and 2 will go to phase 3. So we have, in a way, a lower and lower success rate of drugs, new drugs, which will pass phase 2 clinical trials. And phase 3 clinical trial is the one which is with several hundred to several thousand patients. So it's already in thousands patients. And it's also randomized, but it's conducted, what is also important, it's conducted in randomized way, but also in multiple centers with several hundred to thousand patients for whom the drug is intended. So it's way more already targeted, if we would think about this. So that's about phase 3. And after phase 3, once it's completed, a pharmaceutical company can request FDA approval to market the drug, and this is called New Drug Application, NDA. So NDA can be requested already here, but of course, this is not the end. A lot of people, maybe the ones which are not, which are interested in, as potential patients, how this process looks like in a nutshell, don't realize that after phase 3, this is not the end. This is not the end. This is quite, I would say, quite still very bureaucratic process. But what I'd like to show here, and I have it here on very nice scheme, is that phase 4 is post-marketing studies and marketing authorization. So this phase is marketing authorization, and post-marketing studies. So once the drug will be approved, it will also still be processed before it enters the market. But I think once you are successful already and you are at the phase 3, this is in a way the most essential phase of whole clinical development of a drug, because depending on this phase, the drug or will be approved or not in the end. So I hope that in very short time, I have already 60 minutes, I told a little bit about artificial intelligence, how it can help us to accelerate the drug development, including stem cells, including ATMPs, but also what I'd like to bring today, and that's actually a challenge because I never told you about my project, because a lot of this project is patentable, so I cannot actually share anything. But this project is actually not necessarily patentable. I think this will be not patentable. So I'm in a process, because I talk about process, I'd like to also tell you how this starts. It starts from understanding the process and understanding challenges. And what I very much discovered, and that's not really new, but yet, maybe partially new, that there is a huge discrepancy between preclinical data and clinical data. And I'd like to develop a project which is based on artificial intelligence, so AI-driven project, which will actually tackle this challenge, which will take this challenge to the next level and solve discrepancies between preclinical data and clinical data in order to accelerate process of drug development. Here I will focus on ATMPs. So that is going to be my first AI-driven project, and I'd like to actually tell you before, and I'm going to talk through next year about this, because it also requires, and actually I'm really happy that this project is also very collaborative, and I'll explain you in next vlogs and next year why. But this is the beginning, this is the idea, this is the problem, and in by AI-driven solution, I want to bring AI-driven solution to solve this problem. So in collaborative setting. So that's my challenging AI-driven project for next year. And I'm really excited because this is really a beautiful process when you first bring idea, when you present the main idea, and then where you find collaborators from academia, from industry, and you bring this project to life. So I'd like to share this with you today in this very AI-inspiring Vlogmas, and see you next time. Bye!